Hi, I'm Preston Walker, licensed marriage family therapist in Nevada and Utah, but today I am in Orlando, Florida. We're at the ISNR Conference. This is the 30th anniversary. ISNR is the International Society for Neuroregulation and Research. We're here to learn about all things neurofeedback, photobiomodulation, vagus nerve stimulation. It's all very fascinating. Stay tuned. We're going to tell you what we learn in these workshops, and we're going to be interviewing the vendors. I'm here with Kevin.
Hi.
And Robert Cohen. And he's going to tell us a little bit about Synapse Data and what that does, what it is.
So what Synapse Data is an augment to NeuroGuide. So NeuroGuide is a process machine, a software that gets QEEGs and analyzes them, and then it spits out a lot of data. In fact, we have a little thing right here. If you take a Q or QEEG and print it out, it'd be like 5 reams of data, 5 reams of paper to print it all out. And so I think it's important to look at all that data, but how do you do it? And so our software is around arranging it and viewing it in a way that you can process it quickly without going through everything. So example right here would be just kind of printing out sort of an Excel spreadsheet style, showing this is the first Q, the second one, third, fourth, and you can see the progress over time by the color coding versus looking at every single number. And so we have lots of different ways of viewing that data depending on what you want to do. You can sort it by the protocol you've developed, or by the certain symptoms that are already in there, or you can say, give me the most deviant ones up top. It's just arranging it in a way that you see that helps you process it all better.
Okay, so interesting. So there was just a workshop that I attended that was talking about how certain Brodmann areas have hypocoherence with other Brodmann areas in people with ADHD. It was something they actually had to get AI to do because there was just so much data. So I'm curious, would this be able to look specifically at that, at hypocoherence or coherence in general between Brodmann areas?
Yes, it would. Now, it wouldn't be able to tell you what is for ADD or whatever. That's something you have to define.
Right.
But if you go in here and you can actually make your own protocols, your own symptoms, if you say, I think ADD works with Brodmann areas 2, 5, 10, and 25, it'll actually view just those areas, and you can see really quickly what's the connection, or is there any issues in that.
Okay.
So it takes that data and just analyze and moves it in a way that you can make sense of it a lot faster than going through.
So rather than thousands of pages.
Yeah, it just sorts it out. It's like a big database. It sorts it really fast for you. So however you want to do it.
Very cool.
Flexible.
Yeah, that's fascinating. I can see how that would be incredibly helpful.
Well, and when I first started this, I did NeuroGuide, and I'm not sure if you played with it all before, but they have what I call, it's called making protocols for dummies.
Yeah.
That's what I call it.
Yeah.
You put in a queue and you say, hey, I want to work with, say, anxiety, hit the button and it puts a protocol out, which it worked. It was great. But then as I learned more, I realized, wow, there's so much information here that I'm not even looking at. And not that their way of doing it is wrong, but I wasn't informed enough to know how to teach it. Like example, as a counselor, I've always been told, take good history, good intake.
Right.
Because you might miss something. And same thing, if I don't look at all this, I've had clients come in saying, hey, I'm ADD, on Ritalin my whole life, please give me, train me.
Yeah.
After an intake and looking at the data, it's like, no, you have PTSD. Like you have been abused by your parents, whatever. That's the real issue, not this. And I can see that in the data. Oh my gosh, these areas are lighting up, which correlates with this. Now, I wouldn't diagnose with this, but I'd ask, hey, I'm seeing issues here. Does that line up with you? And if I didn't look, I wouldn't know.
Right.
And I've learned, wow, I can't simply take my client's input as the 100% for sure source.
Right.
It might be, and most of the time it is, but I always want to double check.
So it's kind of that balancing of taking what they tell you, but then also taking objective data.
Yes, and I have to have the information to investigate, to know. I oftentimes will go through here and say, this is what you're saying, let me look and see what the brain is telling me. What's it saying the problem is, and I'll say, do you experience this? Do you experience this? And if one happens to be a more root cause, I may say, I might suggest that.
Okay.
Like ADD, it's people say lack of attention. Is that because you have anxiety? Is it because you have trauma? Is it because whatever? There's a lot of things that could be the root cause of that symptom.
Right.
And so it's really important to look at all the data. Is my big spiel.
I love it. That's super fascinating. Thank you.
You're welcome.